We just had a run-in with a bird we've been hearing all day but haven't really gotten to see, a marsh wren. So one decided to actually come out, and they'll do the splits between the cattails, which is really cool while they're calling. Came down and got a drink, gave us great views for a little bit of time before it headed back into the marsh.
Horicon Marsh is one of the premier birding destinations in not only Wisconsin, but the entire United States. With an expanse of over 21,000 acres and hundreds of thousands of people visiting the area annually, Horicon provides a perfect place for birders, photographers, and nature lovers alike to see plants and animals that are hard to find in other parts of the state. The issue is, with so much land to search through, it can be hard to find the best spots to locate birds. We're here to help solve that problem. Hey everyone, this is Ryan and Derek from Badgerland Birding, and today we're at one of the premier birding destinations in the entire Midwest, Horicon Marsh.
And this can be a tough place to bird if you don't know where to go, so we're going to be taking you to some of our favorite places. Join us on this journey of the United States' largest freshwater cattail marsh.
Following a route that starts from the southern end of the marsh, our first hotspot is the Horicon Marsh Education and Visitor Center, containing information and displays inside the building and walking trails outside. The Education Center is a fantastic place to learn about the marsh, as well as to see interesting wildlife.
We're here at the Horicon Marsh Education and Visitor Center, and this is a great place to find purple martins. They put up a lot of nice purple martin houses, and also it's a great place for cliff swallows. Here you'll find cliff swallows and barn swallows, and they both look very similar. One of the distinguishing features is cliff swallows will have a little bit of white on the forehead that the barn swallow lacks. Barn swallows are also going to have a forked tail, which you can notice pretty distinctly in flight. And the cliff swallow nests, if you look at the nests on the side of the buildings here, the cliff swallows are going to have a smaller opening where the barn swallow nest is going to be more cupped. So those are some good distinguishing features to differentiate those guys. Also, you're going to have a great view of the marsh here. There's a couple trails you can take that go on the outside of the marsh, and it forms a loop. So you can take the whole loop and see some nice water birds in there as well.
From the building, we began walking the trail, picking up many species, including one that Horicon Marsh is known for.
We just started walking the trail at the Education and Visitor Center, and we have a trumpeter swan with babies. And we also have Canada geese out here, red-winged blackbirds, we're calling marsh wrens. There's a double-crested cormorant up here. So really any place in the marsh that you go, you're going to see a variety of different species. Trumpeter swans breed here at Horicon, so I would consider them a signature species of the marsh.
We continued exploring the trail, finding a few amphibians as well as more bird species, including wood duck, song sparrow, swamp sparrow, and a raptor very at home in the marshy habitat.
Right here to my left, there's a really nice platform for ospreys that they've been using to breed. So there's actually a nesting pair that hangs out over here for most of the spring and early summer.
We just found some really cool stuff walking around the visitor center. Now we're going to start going into the roads that actually head into the marsh. So we're going to take a stop on Ledge Road and see what kind of birds we have there today. Ledge Road, along with nearby Dyke Road, provide the opportunity to drive into the marsh. This allows for viewing of many different species without ever having to get out of the car. Both roads do have some areas to walk, but birding by car here is the best way to go. We just pulled up to Ledge Road, and this is one of the roads that you can drive into the marsh on. So it's kind of nice because you don't even have to get out of your car. You can kind of just go and peruse the wildlife that's on both sides of you. Ledge Road is a great place to find a multitude of bird species, including ducks, common gallinules, and vireos. While we were there, we also found a common wading bird. There are a bunch of great egrets out here to my right, and this is a species that you can find very frequently at Horicon Marsh. You can find them other places also in the state, but this is a place where if you want to go see them and see them close to the road, close near you, it's a great place to do it. And these birds are one of the many egret species that show up here. We also sometimes get snowy egret, which is sort of a rare visitor, and then also cattle egret, which is also rare.
We're now leaving Ledge Road, and we're going to one of the trails where you can actually walk into the marsh as opposed to driving. both have benefits. Driving is nice because you can cover a lot of area quickly, but walking, you really get to scan and listen for calls a little bit better and pick up on some of those more difficult to find species, such as least bitterns that can really tuck themselves away.
We're now on Point Road, and we're starting to walk out to the part where you can get a lot of good marsh birds. Right now we're in the woods, which you can get some good warblers, flycatchers, and what I really love about Point Road is that you can really walk the expanse of the marsh because it connects with Old Marsh Road, where we'll be going later, and this is where a lot of rare stuff is reported. Walking the road, we quickly picked out many yellow-headed blackbirds, diving Forster's terns, and black-crowned night herons. We also encountered another species that can be found much more easily at Horicon Marsh than anywhere else in the state.
Here on Point Road, we just had a pair of black-necked stilts fly in, and Horicon's a great place for these birds because they actually breed here now, where they used to not breed anywhere in the state. So if you want to see black-necked stilts, Horicon Marsh is a great place to find them.
After watching the stilts, we continued west on Point Road, where we encountered an elusive bird hiding in the reeds.
Alright, we just had a least bittern that was perched up on some of these cattails, and every time I see them, I always forget just how small they are. And they're doing an amazing job of enlarging their neck and then shrinking it back down. It looks ridiculous. But it was just pretending to be one of these cattails. A really cool bird to see, and a great species for Horicon.
That was a long walk, but it was definitely worth it to see some of those awesome birds in the marsh. Now we're going to head to Highway 49, which I would say is one of the most dangerous places to bird at Horicon, but it's definitely worth it because you can get some sensational species there. Cutting through the northern point of the marsh, Highway 49 provides a nice vantage point to see some of the more open areas of Horicon. While it's a great area to view wildlife, be sure to stay safe when pulling over, as there are often vehicles flying by at high speeds. We're on Highway 49, and this highway goes right through parts of Horicon Marsh. What kind of species are here really depends a lot on how high the water level is. So right now the water level is very high, so you're going to get a lot of ducks and geese and swans. When the water level is lower, then you get a lot of shorebirds. So especially during spring and fall migration, this place is usually packed with birds, even though you see there's not a whole lot going on out here right now. From the highway, we stopped at another visitor center.
We're here at Marsh Haven Nature Center, and it's currently closed, but when it's open, there's a couple different animals that you can look at inside, and it's another great place to find purple martins. Also, when yellow-headed blackbird numbers are low, I've also seen them come to the feeders here.
After checking out the martins at Marsh Haven, we went to one of our favorite areas at Horicon, the auto tour.
We're currently driving through the auto tour here at Horicon, and it's really nice because you can just take your car through it and check out some of the different places and then kind of pull over and stop whenever you see something you really want to take a look at.
During our drive through the auto tour, we pulled over to walk another trail in search of a few more marsh birds. We're here on Old Marsh Road, which is actually part of the auto tour, and it's also the other half of Point Road, which we already walked on. So if we took this road all the way through the marsh, it would take us back to Point where we already were. So this road has a lot of the same things that Point Road will have, but there's some other birds that we can find in this area as well. So it's always fun to walk. It's not open all year round. It's only open for part of the year, usually when it's warmer out. Accessible from June through August, Old Marsh Road goes through open water and dense cattails. Birds such as pied-billed grebes can be found here, along with Virginia rails and soras. While we were here, we were able to get a view of a bird that we had heard often, but not yet seen.
We just had a run-in with a bird we've been hearing all day, but haven't really gotten to see, a marsh wren. So one decided to actually come out, and they'll do the splits between the cattails, which is really cool while they're calling. Came down and got a drink, gave us great views for a little bit of time before it headed back into the marsh.
We walked a bit further on Old Marsh Road, picking up American white pelican and hooded merganser before heading back. As it turned out, the area near the road entry was a haven for a classic Horicon Marsh species, the black tern. From Old Marsh Road, we continued onto the auto tour until we got to one of the most popular spots in the marsh. We're about to head on to the boardwalk, which is one of the most unique and probably one of my favorite parts of Horicon Marsh. And it overlooks a lot of really wet, marshy areas. So it gives you a good vantage point to see birds that are out there, especially ducks. And then it goes into a forested area back from here again and kind of loops around. So in there you can find warblers, vireos, flycatchers, all sorts of stuff. The Horicon Marsh Auto Tour Boardwalk spans 4/10 of a mile and provides great open views of wildlife as it floats on top of the water. It's a great place for a casual walk, as well as a great place to spot birds. During migration, birds such as ducks, as well as sandhill cranes and shorebird species frequent this area. At the end of the boardwalk, we looped back to the parking lot and concluded our birding adventure. We just got done with the auto tour, and now we are ready to head out after a great day of birding.
Horicon Marsh is a really awesome place to bird, whether you're in-state looking for rarities or out-of-state looking to see what the marsh has to offer. Please come check out this gem in Wisconsin.
Horicon Marsh Wildlife Refuge is an incredible place to visit, with beautiful scenery and bird species that are not only rare in most parts of the state, but also the country. Horicon Marsh is a must for any birder or nature lover. We hope you found this video helpful. Be sure to tell us about your experiences at the country's largest freshwater cattail marsh. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.
Ryan just got out to move a frog, and then the frog kind of moved himself.
Did you see that?
Yeah, he moved himself.
Yeah, he's totally cool with a large car coming, but as soon as a human approaches, it's a no-go. That was a pretty long walk, but it was definitely worth it.